Good morning, dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, and welcome to day 18 of our Advent Reflections. This is Father Joseph Royan, a Redemptress. The passage for our reflection this morning is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 1, verses 18 to 25. But in order to appreciate the birth narrative of Jesus, we need to understand the background of the Gospel of Matthew. The evangelist Matthew is writing this Gospel around 80 or 90 CE, and is addressing his work to a community in conflict. And this community consists of Jewish Christians. Jewish Christians who were being pushed out of larger Jewish communities. These larger Jewish communities were led by Pharisees, rabbis, who assumed leadership of the Jewish people in the aftermath of the destruction of Jerusalem. And so Matthew is at pains to place his own religious community squarely within its Jewish heritage, and to portray a Jesus whose Jewish identity is beyond doubt. He therefore begins his gospel by tracing Jesus' genealogy, and we heard that yesterday. He could have gotten away with tracing Jesus back to King David, but Matthew takes no chances and traces Jesus' lineage all the way back to Abraham. For Matthew, Jesus is a Jew. It's within this context, then, that the focus on Joseph appears in Matthew's story of Jesus' birth. Joseph embodies the best parts of the Jewish tradition, a tradition that was all about keeping the law as a way to live with God. The law was a tried and true pattern of actions that expressed a Jew's closeness to God and right relationship with others. So Joseph, according to the law in today's gospel passage, was planning to divorce Mary. But an angel appears to Joseph and speaks the words that we will hear on Christmas in Luke's Gospel. Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to do something outrageous in order to bring to fruition something that the law and the prophets have yearned for. Do not be afraid to do something that pitches you past any mercy you can imagine. Do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife. This is a striking moment in Joseph's life. All of what he knows, his life, his religion, his ethics, is being questioned by an angel in a dream. And that angel is inviting him to forsake all that knowledge and understanding to participate in a larger story. I believe that we are all a little like Joseph. We all limit ourselves by our tried and true ways of doing things. We each have our own ways of dealing with personal, spiritual, and professional matters, our own ways of moving through this demanding season of the year. Perhaps there is a voice we're already dimly aware of from a dark. It's a voice we are trying to avoid, a voice that is asking us to go beyond those tried and true ways in order to surrender more fully to God and to assist in the coming of Emmanuel, God with us, in our own lives and in the life of the world. God is saying to us, as he said to Joseph, do not be afraid. And we hear this phrase so often throughout the Bible. God says to Abraham, do not be afraid to leave your land. God says to Moses, "Do not be afraid. I will be with you when you speak to the Pharaoh. Do not be afraid of any evil, David, for the Lord will be your shepherd, no matter where you are. Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found grace with God." Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to act. Surrender to Jesus your fears, your tried and tested ways, and make that leap of faith and act like Joseph, depending thoroughly on the divine wisdom of God, believing in your heart that God knows best. Amen. God bless you.